Welcome to our Park City Market Talk webinar for December 2020, the last one of the year. And let's just look at the slopes and be reminded that the Park City Mountain Resort and Deer Valley are both open of course with some COVID-19 safety protocols. There's two things I want to cover with you on this webinar today. We want to take a look back at 2020 year, Park City year in review. Crazy year, no doubt about that, but we'll highlight some of the things we've talked about in our webinars. We also, of course, will give you an update on the Park City real estate market. Let's look back now at 2020 in Park City. Wow, what a year. What a year for everybody. The season began with low interest rates. In fact, they were the lowest interest rates in 50 years. Very, very attractive for investors and buyers looking at owning a piece of Park City, and so it certainly did stimulate our marketplace. This was, of course, followed by the annual event, the Sundance Film Festival. It ran from January 23rd through February 2nd, and of course we had lots of celebrities and a wonderful time. We always enjoy that here in Park City. Unfortunately, soon these famous faces here were replaced by these faces. People started getting sick during Sundance. Nobody really knew what it was. It was lovingly referred to as the Sundance flu by locals, but eventually it was better known as the coronavirus or COVID-19. Yes, Park City had its outbreak, as did the rest of the country, as did the rest of the world. The first community spread of COVID-19 in Utah actually began in Park City. It occurred at the Spur Bar and Grill on Main Street. And it triggered immediate action. Shut down restaurants, all non-essential businesses in Park City. The resorts were closed. You may have even been here. If you were a guest, you were politely asked to go home because of the pandemic. The locals were giving a stay-at-home recommendation by the Summit County Health Department, and we became very familiar with this graph here, the importance of flattening the curve. None of us have ever gone through a pandemic. We really didn't know what to expect. And the news was all over the place. The stock market was plummeting as people weren't sure what was going to happen. We saw our president surrounded by Dr. Fauci and others just trying to give us some information, some way to interpret the events. Throughout our monthly webinars, we continued to keep you informed about what the market was doing. But inasmuch as the pandemic literally caused the shutdown, we had to try to figure out what to tell you. So we were looking at the Park City real estate market very carefully, trying to figure out where it was heading. But people were asking more important questions. They wanted to know if Park City was safe. They wanted to know when it was going to be back to normal. But then, of course, they were looking to us to figure out whether they should buy a home, whether they should still invest in real estate. And because of social distancing, we altered our monthly webinars. In fact, we're still proceeding with one presenter instead of side by side as you're accustomed to. But we turned to roundtable and we got all of our team members together and we talked about what was happening in Park City and how things were changing. And you got very current information from us, which was really important. The other important thing that we definitely made you aware of is that Park City was open. And even though the resorts were closed and the restaurants were limited and you had curbside pickup for food, the outdoors was very much open. Mountain trails were open, people were hiking, other events were very, very much occurring here. And people actually looked toward Park City as a place to go where they could have some more natural social distancing and outdoor activity. The Park City Mountain Resort had its activity, as did Deer Valley, and even the Woodward Park City with its theme parks and summer camps were operating. So we kept you informed about that, but we always had to return to the same question. How is COVID-19 impacting the Park City real estate market? So again, we had another roundtable discussion. This time we added Lynette and Jen, who are part of our administrative and marketing staff. We just talked about it. We just need to get the information out to you. Either you were a local and you were living it, or you lived elsewhere and you were curious what was happening in Park City. How was it going to impact your investment, maybe your next visit to Park City, either in the summer or during the upcoming ski season. Well, as things started to become a little bit more clear, I wanted to come up with somewhat of a forecast for you. And so I turned to putting together a timeline, a 24-month timeline. And I did that because, we were hearing a lot from Dr. Fauci, and he said, you're not going to see a vaccine until 12 to 18 months. And so I figured I needed to start thinking about where the market would be in the next 24 months. And so I presented, after a couple roundtables, we talked about those on that. I presented 7 phases of the pandemic as I saw it, and wanted to look at the future of Park City real estate relative to that. And this was, I came up with this about 5th or 6th month into the pandemic, but you can see that it actually has been pretty true to form. The vaccine and the treatment seems to be ahead of schedule, or at least really close, and we're all trying to get back to that new normal. So what is the future forecast for Park City real estate? What I did is I looked at 4 elements: the primary homes, the second homes, the rental properties, and vacant land, and we reported on this in our roundtables and in our monthly webinars throughout the pandemic, just so that people could get a feel for where the marketplace was going. I even put together a webinar where I described the timeline in detail and our future outlook, and that still is available on our website, BuyParkCity.com /COVID-19 update. So it goes into this graph in greater detail. People were wondering, was anything really happening in Park City? Were things selling? And at first, the market really shut down. There was so much uncertainty that Park City literally became a ghost town, and you could go walk from top to bottom on Main Street and not see anybody. So there was just a tremendous amount of uncertainty. But after about a month and a half, the primary home market started selling again, and properties that were under contract closed. Meanwhile, the rental property sales really had stalled, and it stalled primarily because people didn't know whether we were going to have a ski season for the 2021 time period. And so, do you buy something and not have any rentals? This became a big question. Now our marketplace consists of very robust primary homes and second homes selling. Really has exploded, particularly in the high end of the marketplace, along with the rental properties finally selling too. Now, this was a surprise to all of us, because what first started out as a pandemic that created a ghost town of Park City has now led to Park City's real estate boom because of the COVID-19 virus. We started seeing articles and reported on these that COVID set Park City, Utah home sales at records 446 million in sales in July and August. We'd let you know about this. Surrounding areas were also positively impacted. So we started to zero in on the property sales and the prices. And it wasn't long before we started talking about the fact that the Park City market is now booming. And along with our future outlook on real estate, we provided through our Park City Link newsletter, market data, frequently asked questions. Just our goal was to make sure that you were well informed about what was happening in our marketplace. We did some more roundtable discussions, and we utilized these means and our website to keep you informed. We also talked about in 2020, Vail's announcement of their COVID-19 protocols for the 2021 season, which we are now into, just at the beginning of it, but we're into it. And of course, masks are required in all parts of the resort, including lift lines, and on the lifts and on the gondolas. They try to physical distance, social distance as much as possible. And there's extensive protocols that are described both on Park City and Deer Valley's websites. Again, we did some more roundtables, again, speaking to the issues in real time, giving you feedback about what was happening in Park City. So that's kind of our look back at what happened in Park City. And, most people would say about 2020 is that it's been the worst year ever. Really, really tough in every way that we could have imagined and in ways that we could not imagine. Clearly, we're wearing masks. We'll be wearing masks into 2021. But the good news is the vaccine will be here soon. to curb the pandemic, hopefully get rid of it altogether. I know even this week where we're recording in Great Britain, they're starting to make the vaccines available, and soon in the middle of December they'll be available in the United States going into the new year. So hopefully that's going to curb the pandemic. We're really looking forward to that happening. That is really what we need. We need something to bridge the gap of 2020 and COVID-19 into a new year, 2021. So that, of course, raises the question, what does the future look like? And one can clearly say we're certainly going to see a lot more masks in 2021. They do seem to be working, and whether it's a political issue or a philosophical issue, doesn't matter. If you wear your mask, you're going to help curb the pandemic, either within your own family or among others. So it's a good idea. I don't like wearing them, but I wear them. We're also going to see the pandemic addressed by the vaccinations. They're going to be available starting at the end of 2020 and working into the new year. So I do expect that 2021 will be a much better year. I can't imagine how it could be much worse. We've certainly been taken through the ringer, but we're going to make it through it. We really are. All right, so let's do as we do in every monthly webinar. Take a look at the marketplace, see what's been happening in a year-to-year comparison. Starting out with the fact there's been 1,865 sales over the past 12 months. This is homes, condos, and vacant land. That is up 37% or 505 sales. Keep in mind, if you've been following our webinar, we report on this every month. We've been doing this for year after year after year. And we've always seen 1,200 to 1,300, sometimes less than 1,200, 505 more sales. That's huge. That's record-breaking for Park City. We break it down into our categories: homes, condos, and lots. The red bars represent December 2019 through November 2020, and the silver bars represent the same 12-month period the year before. You can see the home sales are up 43%. From 543 sales to 774. Condos up 20% from 701 to 839. And lots, we don't have a lot of lots in Park City, but 117% increase from 116 to 252. So when we talk about our market exploding, there you are, you can see it. It's exploding before your very eyes. Here we break it down into home sales within the Park City area and the Snyderville limits. The Park City area, 52% increase the number of sales, up to 279 from the previous 184 a year ago. 38% increase in the Snyderville Basin, climbed from 359 to 495 sales. That's homes. Now we're looking at condos. City limits up 15%, just under 398 sales compared to 347 the year before. 25% bump, Snyderville Basin from 354 all the way to 441. Sales, sales, sales. Look at the lots. The city, we don't have that many, but 129% increase. People have come here wanting to buy Park City, whether it's a home, a condo, land, whatever it is, live out the pandemic, at least the quarantine process, and maybe make a whole lifestyle change. Here you're seeing it here. 17 sales went up to 39. We have very few sales, but anything available to be purchased got bought. 115% increase. The Snyderville Basin from 99 to 213 sales. So there you see it. That's what our market's been doing. Now let's take a look at prices, see what's been happening there. Prices also going through the roof. In the city limits, 22% increase year over year, making the new medium sold price $2,418,750. That is a medium price in Park City from the previous $1,975,000. Snyderville Basin saw a 20% increase from $1,250,000 to $1,500,000, a bump of $250,000 medium price increase. Here's condominiums. There we see that number again, 22%. Climbing from $775,000 to a medium $947,800, A 10% increase in condos in the Snyderville Basin from 619,000 to 680,000 as the median sold price. Now we're looking at vacant land, again limited in the city limits. There weren't that many sales the previous year, but while we've had these increases, we've seen a 9% statistical increase from 1,000,001 to 1,000,002, and a 5% increase in land in Snyderville Basin from 525,000 to 549,000 being the median sold price. One of the ways that we keep you informed as to what's happening in Park City is through our Park City Link newsletter. And if you're not a subscriber, give me a call or send me an email and we'll make sure we get you on the list. This last issue got postponed because we were trying to figure out what was happening with the pandemic. Once we got a pretty clear understanding, we published this in November, and you can see some of the topics there, giving you information about Park City, the pandemic, what restaurants are open, schools, you name it. You can read it online, by the way, at BuyParkCity.com/ParkCityLink. The issue is there, and we're happy to send the next publication. Just give us your contact information. We're also going to be next month, will be January 2021. I typically present my predictions as to what's happening, what's anticipated to happen in the Park City real estate market. And so we'll do that in next month's webinar. But we're going to do it a little bit different. We're going to make it a round table. And so I'm going to present what I think, and then the team's going to tell me if I'm full of baloney or if they agree. That's what we're going to be covering next month. Be sure to catch it. And as always, if you have any questions, call me or send me an email, ron@thewilsteinteam.com. I'm available, my team's available to assist you in any way that we can. Thank you for watching. We really appreciate it. And be sure to bookmark BuyParkCity.com.